43.
42. 41.
40.
39.
Number 1.
39.
38.
37.
36.
35.
34.
33. 32.
31.
30. 29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24. 23.
21.
20.
19.
18.
17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12.
11.
10.
9. 8.
7. 6.
5.
4.
3.5.
3.
2.
1.
Hey, Rocky, you want to see me pull a show out of my hat? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Hi, and welcome to the Mouthwash Show, a minty fresh take on life. And hey, we're actually going to talk about life and death today. So you hang on to that. I just decided, I'm going to do something like Monty Python. Let's now for something completely different. They were always talking about the meaning of life on Monty Python's Flying Circus back in the day. My dad loved that show. Watched it every Friday night or whenever it came on. Missed that show. They were very, very funny. If you ever want to see something really funny, they do a sketch about what a woman is. It is way before its time and highly comical. So like I said, the topic tonight is going to be life and death. We're going to talk about near-death experience. We're going to talk about dreams, and we're going to talk about the afterlife. Whoa. So we're just going to take a break because, it's we're in the dog days of summer. Everybody's sort of tired of politics a little bit, even though they keep on it rolling. And then next week, we're going to have Janae Trimble on. You say, oh, who's Janae Trimble? Well, you might remember her. She's the guy with the hair down in Bloomington running for assessor. And the establishment is doing everything they can stop her from getting on the ballot. They said they wanted to try to keep her from getting her signatures, and they were out there protesting and all that, and 8x10 photo glossy pictures with descriptions on the back of them to get her off the ballot. But she got her signatures and got approved. But now they're trying more shenanigans down there to get her off the ballot. So apparently, they do not want her on the ballot. So she's going to come on. We're going to talk about it. And I'll tell you what, she's a fighter. She's a fighter. We need more like her fighting for it. So, but that's what we're going to talk about. And then we had a little bit of drama on the rents last night. I haven't talked to Brad, but there was not last night, Sunday night. Sunday night had a little drama. He made the trip over to Peoria, and we'll just have to see what he has to say about it. And let's see what else we have. Of course, Witty Reviews today. If you go back and watch his show, he is uncovering all of this, alleged money laundering between these nonprofit PACs and all this other stuff. It just seems a little icky to me that these people just keep sort of trading their money around and buying favor and influence. That's what they do. That's what politicians do. So that is, you go back and watch that show tonight, and he will be going to the deportation rally this weekend. He paid. Now, yours truly, I asked for a free mouthwash press pass, and he said that 2 other outlets have exclusive coverage. So I was not going to get a free one, and I'm not paying. So there you go. That's that. But he did send back the email and said, "Oh, did you hire any illegals?" Like, "Oh, you didn't hire any illegals, did you, John?" I said, "No. The state has audited me in the last couple of years. How it is. They love me. They're going to try to catch me on every single thing they can catch me on." But my audit came back with a clean bill of sale, health, that I've paid all my employee their taxes. I don't have any illegal people working for me. All good, all good. So bring it. Sometimes it pays to be honest. Not in politics, but in business, sometimes it pays to be honest. So that way, and then we've got Nicole. She's on fire. Let's see if I can find another. She's got another show that's going to come on here. Let's see if I can find it. No, it's not loaded up in here, but it's going to start coming out on Saturday. So I have to get back to the mouthwash one here. We have, oh, wait, hold on. It's here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. It is. Here we go. We're going to play this. Let's play it.
Grab a cup, pull up a chair. The Veterans Coffee Club podcast is on the air.
All right, you get the idea of that. Let me get back to the.
I like that. That was funky.
Yeah, she's got that AI rolling, doesn't she, Brad? We have to pick up our game. I mean,
let's find musicians and hire.
They make the song and everything for you. The AI is, and she says she's helped. So look, Tiffany's going. I like her.
Do you have to call it the AI? Can you just call it AI?
The Ohio State.
Facebook, the Ohio State. I don't know. I probably could. I call it the AS, artificial spirituality. And Brad, you know what I'm talking about that. That's those fake Christians. They have AS, artificial spirituality. So I
don't know anybody like that.
You don't know any of them like that? Okay. I just was wondering.
No.
I mean, so, hey, it's going to be a fun topic tonight. You got the
notes, Larry, the whiteboard's back, man.
Yeah, it's
funny.
Well, let's get that out.
And Drew. All right.
Let's get that out of the way right away here on what the heck was I watching on Sunday night?
I mean, I thought it was hilarious myself.
It was interesting.
It was like watching two different shows. Like I've gone back and watched it several times because it's hilarious. And my personal favorite though is if you turn it to like, half speed. We all seem drunk, like way drunker than like whatever we were at the time. Like through it, like I mean, all of us, and it's just funny hearing us like talking slow. All I wanted to talk about was Micah, and so
you kept trying to steer it
slow motion. Go back to be like, let's talk about Micah. I want to talk about Micah. Like, kept making me laugh.
Yeah, so, you just wanted to. It was like a plane, and you wanted to jump out of it, but you couldn't because you didn't have a parachute.
Oh no! And I mean, this was like planned for months at this point. Like, and the whole idea was to have Drew and Cassie. Like, I mean, like we were all going to be there together and try to do, a podcast in person with everyone. And that's the funny thing too. Oh, Drew was.
That would have been a long ride home, wouldn't it?
It would have been interesting. But that's it too. Like, I don't think that it would have started off like that. I don't know how. Like the first half of the show, like it goes along for like 7 or 8 minutes, and I'm talking about coming to Peoria, and then when Cassie comes in, and I even said this in Whitty's show just now. He was talking about something about women, and I was like, yeah, women can make men go insane, and just it's crazy how women can have that kind of power over men. And Drew in the chat said, yeah, or somebody said you saw that on Sunday, and I'm like, yeah, you lost your like. I mean, I'd never seen Drew that. He yelled "shut up" at the top, and it just made me laugh.
Mad. If he was one of the seven dwarfs.
He was yelling at Cassie. So because Cassie was at the Airbnb with me in Peoria, Mark was at his house in Peoria, and because like we were all visiting Mark, and Drew was supposed to come, like
Cassie who?
Oh, Cassie Jackson,
your buddy Cassie,
and Tiffany. Let's back this up for a second too. When my show when I went off to the Ritz for and I got Drew and Mark, they both asked me if I would have Cassie on the show, and I was the holdout for a long time until I'm like, yeah, we're all gonna be there. I had like an outline planned about Micah.
That never happened.
It didn't go there.
I
So
felt
do
bad for you.
traveled? I mean, you and her are close enough that you traveled together?
No, I mean, yeah, like I was gonna pick her up, and I was gonna pick up Drew if he needed a ride too, and we were all gonna go.
Does Small still have the cat? Didn't he have a cat?
I don't know.
mean,
He had
he has
three of
two.
them.
He has two cats, I think.
I think one something
Um,
happened to one of them.
But like that's it. Like we stayed in the Airbnb for the most part, just because we could crank the AC. And like Mark came to the Airbnb too.
So
I got
Tiffany's
lost.
enjoying this too much. This is, and she's got that "I told you so" grin all over her face, and she didn't have to say a word. But I'll
I'm
tell
doing
you,
my face stretches.
it is just like,
Well, but
it
that's
is-
it was. I had a great time. Like that was the first time that Cassie and I had hung out. Like, and I don't know how to tell you guys this too. Like, it was funny talking to somebody about topics that was like on the left.
oh yeah, it's.
I feel like most of the people that I talk to about every topic are on the right. So it was. I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff just that was, and she's not a quiet girl.
No.
So there were
She'll
not,
tell you.
that's it. Like if you ask questions, yeah, she'll talk for a long time. And there's nothing, it was a long drive. It was like 4 hours.
Spiro says do a highlight reel. So anyway, that was
honestly,
it's tough
Spiro-
it's tough running those shows, isn't it?
Well, I think something got brought up to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to be able to steer this back to Micah. The only thing that I wanted to bring up, but
Well, I was a little bit disappointed that she was trying to say that, oh, I don't want we don't want to be on the Chateau de Marseille network because so she didn't say on the network you're on. And I just want the people to know on here, Mark Small and Cassie Jackson quit. I did not fire them. So if they act like they're these victims.
oh no, and that's, I mean, and moving forward too, like
I know Tiffany's like, why didn't you fire them?
well, no, everything moving forward, like me and Drew are still doing the rinse. I'm gonna actually start doing something different with Mark, and not on, but just
Hey, we got
And-
plenty
and
of room
so-
on here. So we
well, no,
like,
and so I mean, like it actually worked out pretty nicely. I feel like it,
yes, it does.
Drew's looking forward to just moving. Like I talked to him afterwards, and he's just looking forward to, because next week we got Christopher Bilbrey on. We're going to talk to him about the Whitestown shooting.
Oh yeah, there's plenty to talk
Well,
about. That's for sure.
they moved the trial again, so now I think it's not until November, and then the week after that, I think Jay Hart is going to be on. So I can't wait because I didn't know that he went to January 6th.
Oh yeah,
and,
yeah, he went. He didn't go inside, but he went.
Well, no, but it was like Drew kind of mentioned that, and I really would. That's been a topic of heated discussion between Drew and I, so I'm looking forward to.
All right, well let's get into it here. Let's do. I want to do a near-death experience video first. Let's see if I get it. This is a guy I dug up a few clips here. Let me get it going here. I love it. StreamYard, if they could make it a little simpler, that would be great. Oh, which one is it though? I'm going to go with this one. Hey, maybe. Let's try it. Nope, that's not it. That's us. Let me try again. Stop sharing. I love it. I love it. Screen share. Now let's try it. Dreamy. There it is. I got it. I got it.
The so-called out-of-body experience, that's typically a first thing that happens during a near-death experience. So boom, they're unconscious from that life-threatening event or clinical death even with no heartbeat. So they have often as an initial step, consciousness rising typically up above their body. And from that vantage point, as you described, they can see and hear ongoing earthly events. They can see the crew coming in from the ambulance to try to resuscitate them, their friends, family, or loved ones, running around in a panic, even in the operating room, as you described. So that's fairly common. But what is impressive to me is, and as a researcher, is how accurate these observations are. Now, don't forget, they're unconscious.
Right.
Look up unconscious in dictionary. No conscious remembrance. So they're not perceiving from their physical body, often laying on the floor unconscious. Their point of conscious reference, seeing and hearing, is up often way above their body. And as a researcher, I was interested in, well, how accurate are those observations? Is there any reason to believe it's hallucinatory, that it didn't happen? So I studied 280 of these out-of-body experiences, and to my astonishment, just under 98% of the time when they described those observations, it was accurate down to the finest detail.
My way, because I'm walking through.
All right.
Get the fuck out of
Okay, there you go. So there you go. There's all these people have these out of body experiences when they die, and it looks like Justin here. He said his dad, 1997, survived, converted in 2003 after being a lifelong atheist. So hey, I don't know. Maybe he saw the light. Maybe he saw the thing. So Brad, start with you. What do you think about the near-death experience? You have not had that at a Fish concert, have you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't, but I
You've
actually
seen
had.
it?
I was thinking about this today, and in 2024, it was August 3rd, 2024, at Deer Creek. It was during the first set of the Fish concert, and so they're playing a song, and all of a sudden we kind of hear like rumblings from about 12 people over, and it's somebody's like, get a medic, get a medic, is there a doctor or something? And one of my friends that I was there with, she's a nurse, and she ran over and performed CPR on a dude in the lawn at Deer Creek for about 5 or 6 minutes until the EMTs got to him and were able to like continue doing the compressions, and he like came to right as the EMTs kind of got to him. And so I told her, I was like, I'll never forget that concert. And the rest of the show was awesome too. I
So
really you were playing with house money at that point.
Yeah. Did the guy have any comments about being out, or was he just like?
Oh, he had to
they haul him
leave. I
away?
mean, they had to take him out
Oh,
because
he was out. Okay.
well, because I don't know. The nurses that I've all talked to, when they talk about doing chest compressions, they crack ribs. CPR compressions aren't like soft little,
No,
it's
it's not a good
they're
first
deep.
date. It's not a good first date, Brad. Oh, we lost Tiffany.
Well, and
Totally.
so that was, again, that was one of my favorite shows, and the song right after that. So the guy gets taken away, and the song right after that is a Fish song called "Drift While You're Sleeping," which is all about dying. Or it's about a friend dying, and you're guiding them through to like to the afterlife. And I looked at Katie, or like my friend, and I'm like, if you wouldn't have done anything, like that would have been playing as he might have been passing away. And I just thought that was the most random ass thing.
Yeah, well, we'll keep that thought, because our last clip tonight, it's like, so, Ducky in the chat here, she talked about, when you die, you leave that body. We'll keep that thought about that for later in the show. So, Tiffany, you were in the Army, or you were what were you, the Air Force? What were you? I'm sorry, Air Force. Yeah, I knew you flew high. You were like a bird flying. Did you have anybody that got and had a near death or anything like that?
No, I was a mortuary officer. I took care of people after they were passed when they were cold and hard. But
oh my God, Tiffany!
They don't say much, do they? At the end,
yeah, they don't. Worked with the funeral homes, and we had things that we had to do. So when I was stationed at Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama, and my very first mortuary case, they said that this lady had a seizure in the middle of the night, and she passed away. And we took control of the body the next day and took her for an autopsy. And then after the autopsy, we took her to the funeral home and oversaw the preparation of her remains. And so in that instance, as a mortuary officer, you act on behalf of the family. You figure out what the family wants, how they want her dressed, what type of casket they prefer. And then you just make sure that the family never has to talk to the funeral home. And it's funny because I can remember everything about that. And a little PTSD, just a little bit, but I remember everything about that. And it's a story for another time, but it was a very defining moment for me, that whole process. And I made some decisions and kind of haunt me a little bit, but they made me who I am.
Yeah, you seem like you've seen a couple things. Not much rattles you, and I can
Tiffany,
say
I can't
that.
imagine. I mean, that is a lot as a human to see, you know.
Yeah, and day after day, and
that's a
time
lot of
after
death.
time. It's not. Well, I had somebody ask me, why do you help people? And it's, if you think about it, somebody that's a therapist, or in Tiffany's case, you were basically a mortician or someone who's a caregiver in a hospice situation, or you have to care for elderly people, or even younger. I mean, you just day after day after day after day, man, it's got to wear on you. It's got to be tough to be a caregiver in that regard. And I just, I said, it's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to care for other people. And it just caught me off guard because I never really thought about it. Why do we do what we do to help other people? I mean, it's like, I don't know, just it's what we're supposed to do. That's how I look at it.
But I think also during those times, you figure the people they're at their absolute most vulnerable. We live these lives with this great independence and autonomy, and then all of a sudden you can't do for yourself. And what we're always, you're supposed to judge people by how they treat the sick and the infirm and children and widows. I mean, the way you treat the most vulnerable is very indicative of who you are as a person.
Yeah, it just when I was doing the licensed ministry training, and in psychology they have a class, healthy boundaries for the ministry, and then we have another ethics class of how, because a lot of these folks that come to you are their need, and you're doing everything that people are supposed to do to make them feel good, so they end up falling for you. So you have to be very careful that you don't let that happen. And unfortunately, and you could see that happens a lot in the church, a lot in the schools, a lot in the psychology. I mean, it's a tough thing. You got to be strong to stay away from those kind of temptations, because folks will put the
boundaries.
Yeah, you got to have those boundaries, because it's a tricky deal. So, what do you think about the near-death experience? You think yes, maybe what?
I went to college orientation summer of 1991, and I remember I was driving back from Chapel Hill, and I was behind an ambulance, and it's so stupid. It was the first time I'd ever driven behind an ambulance before, and I was kind of freaking out. I was like 18 years old, and then the ambulance stopped, and I slammed on my brakes, and I did not have anti-lock brakes, and I skidded, and I went into a ditch. And I had to get pulled out of the ditch, and I got pulled out of the ditch, and then I drove home. And then when I got home, nobody was home, and the sun was setting, the sky was kind of orange, and I was like, I'm dead. Because there's always somebody home at my mom's house. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, my dad, there was always somebody at home. And I remember I got home and the house was empty and quiet, and the sun was setting and the sky was orange. And I was like,
is this what it's going to look like though when you go? Like, is that what you want it to look like?
I don't know, but it just felt like, how and I think that was before the Sixth Sense came out with Bruce Willis. Remember when he didn't know he was dead the whole time during the movie?
Yeah, talking to that kid.
And then I was thinking, it's like, when I crashed the car, did I die? And it was just kind of surreal. But I've just been very blessed. I haven't had a lot of like weird things happen to me like that. I was a hospice companion before the pandemic, and I spent time with this lady. She had dementia, and we would just sit and watch Rawhide and the Golden Girls and Bonanza.
Tell the same joke over and over.
Yeah, but nothing weird like that.
Yeah, well, it's like,
But I believe that it would happen. Like I don't know how we would question it.
yeah, well, I mean, nobody's come back. Well, one guy came back and he didn't stay that long. Only 500 people saw him only. But I don't think he explained all the ins and outs of what was going on other than what he had said before he passed, other than the fact that he could prove that he could come back. But that's sort of the spiritual side of things. And if you're a non-believer, and like I said, keep that in mind, because our last clip that we show is going to probably it's going to be interesting. I think it's an interesting take on things. But dreaming. So did you have, Tiffany? Did you have any dreams after that of that experience, or have you had any dreams that you tried to figure out what they meant? Or I have some dreams, but I don't have many.
So not last night. Well, last night I was sleeping in a really awkward position. I was snoring, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I got to roll over. But the night before that, I was riding on the sidewalk. I was on an e-bike, and I was riding. And then I noticed, it's almost like I was riding the bike, but I was watching myself ride the bike. And I noticed that I was going down a ravine, and then there was like a cement wall. And I was like, oh man, I'm about to die. And then I woke up.
Well, that's a good segue. But before we go, we have she's made it. Did you get into a fight in the parking lot with one of the commissioners? Is that what happened?
Oh no, I would never get caught doing such a thing. I'm a lady. I have class. Right?
Are you the angel of flock, or is this
I am become destroyer of worlds.
So we have
good.
Yep.
We have paraphernalia. He needs to tune in for our flock camera show, because we'll have one of those coming up. We're letting that percolate a little bit, but we've talked about it a little bit, and you obviously have one down there just down.
We'll be in Palmyra, Indiana. So my daughter's lemonade stand is like 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock at the Palmyra Farmers Market, which is a really great farmers market. We're like right at the Blue River Hardware, so everybody that goes there can, walk over and buy lemonade from the 13-year-old. And then we have flock cameras going in and out of the little town. And so I've got my paint poles, and I've got my plastic white corrugated, like bandit signs. Yeah.
Painting the lens a little bit or something like that. Is that what you're doing?
Well, we're just, we're just going to exercise our First Amendment rights. And this is something, John, you might know, Tiffany, too, as far as First Amendment and political campaigns. Typically, we get our political campaign yard signs with the little H stakes. Why couldn't we get, 10-foot tall H stakes? And so it could be, Lucy, vote Lucy for liberty,
Lucy,
for
that's a
school
weapon.
board.
On the flock camera.
Lucy,
Yeah,
that's a
and then
weapon.
Put it right in front of.
Yeah, a 10-foot stake. Yeah, that would be a weapon, wouldn't it? Sort of.
No, I just think it's, you know what it is? It's a flock sign for Nephilim.
Oh boy, you've thought about that for a couple days, haven't you? Well, hey, Lucy.
No, that should. I'm sorry. That kind of stuff just comes to me on the fly.
Just comes to you right on the spot. But actually, there's a stuff called Durowire that is 10 feet long. That looks like a little ladder. So you could just buy some Durowire. It's already made. You just go buy it from
there you go.
masonry supplier. In fact, I got a whole thing out here I'd give you.
But wait, the people being caught though, like, are they just standing there while they do it, or are they caught on the video? Are they?
There's nothing illegal. There's nothing illegal about standing and holding a sign. And I don't know.
No, I don't like taking them down. Yeah, the people who are taking them down and getting caught, like, are they?
Well, there are cameras that watch the cameras that watch the cameras. And are you aware? Are you aware of the drones?
Cameras that watch the cameras.
Well, because they can just kind of say that you were in the area.
Well, too. If you're silly enough to maintain your personal surveillance device, your cell phone.
Hey, that's for calling home in emergencies. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to
my house.
My
Lucy,
contract
I cannot
is
leave my house without my Who?
Okay, well, let's get back on. Let's get back on the topic here. So, Lucy, what do you think about outer near-death experience, outer body type of stuff?
I have experienced astral projection and out-of-body experiences myself.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I am familiar with that. as a Christian, I really don't know if that's a kosher thing to do. I did all that when I was younger and coming out of Mormonism and experimenting with a lot of things. I was never into witchcraft or anything like that, but I was like, is it
I could
really
see
like
you as a
sinful
witch.
to
I
leave
could
your
see it.
body?
No,
Yeah, in fact,
it's
yeah.
not.
So,
Like, is that a
well,
question, by the way?
well,
Like,
when I
do
was a,
people
when I
have
was a
that?
Mormon, I was taught that like mushrooms and everything because it to your consciousness was wrong. And then I learned how lycopene from tomatoes affects your brain, and I'm like, look, tomatoes affect your brain, mushrooms affect your brain, like everything affects your brain. So why have that? And then I also learned about fluoride and how fluoride calcifies your pineal gland. Your pineal gland, of course, produces DMT, which is the God molecule. So if you what is it? Endocannabinoid system is when you build it yourself inside your own body. So if you have an endo DMT system, like your pineal gland is making DMT, then why would it be a sin to take ayahuasca, which is, what is it, roots from one plant, bark from another, and you mix them together, and then the DMT doesn't get digested in your stomach, and so then it persists and it actually works. So, so why would that be sinful? I really have a hard time with anybody calling anything sinful when God made every green herb for the use of man.
Friggin'
So
preach it,
that's what,
Lucy.
yeah.
All right. Well,
So I have a question, Lucy, based
Yeah.
on what you're saying about the pineal gland.
Yeah.
How would you break somebody if you wanted to turn off their third eye? What would you do?
Well, the
get
first
them
thing
in
you do,
politics. Oh, that's not.
yeah, yeah.
Keep it
So
on. What do
one
you
thing that
mean?
and there, well, first of all, you would just go back and read the CIA MK Ultra documents. Sleep deprivation and all those kinds of things obviously break your psyche. They do that regularly. It's a science for them. But specifically with your pineal gland, fluoride really messes up your pineal gland. Now, what were we told? Yeah, it calcifies it. Now, is it boron, chlorine, fluoride, and iodine are all in the same row on the periodic table? So, so boron, which is your 20-butane borax, that's actually a really pure source of boron. It's right in your laundry aisle. For women, we should be taking 1/8 of a teaspoon of that a day in water. It just makes your water taste a little bit salty and it feels a little bit slippery. But other than that, there's really no taste. It's kind of like drinking an energy
It's a good
drink.
plus too.
Yeah, and men should be taking a 1/4 of a teaspoon. It's a very, very small amount. But when I do that, it's like windshield wipers going on your windshield of your car. Like you just feel more focused. You feel more present. But the boron will knock out the fluoride or fluorine.
So she's our
Yep.
experiment here. So, and she's pretty darn sharp.
We
She comes
well,
on
we
all
don't
of our
have
shows.
we don't have that would make her sharp. We don't have a lot of boron in soil, and in countries like Haiti where there's almost zero boron, you have a lot of arthritis. In countries where there's lots of boron in the soil that the plants can up, guess what? There's no arthritis. So anyway, if
Can I
you
ask
want
you
to
like a
get
dumb question? Just
yeah.
Better than anybody else I know.
I was going to say.
Tiffany,
You
do
left
you have
yourself
like a
open for
list?
that one.
Do you have like a list of things just just in case Brad sets me up real nicely? Okay, like for boron, I don't get it. Like, is there just like a vein of boron mines somewhere, and people
Yeah,
can
I think it's
identify and
actually
go
in
like,
like
hey, wow, look,
It's like salt.
like
Yeah.
who's been walking down the in nature and just been like, oh, there's
They're
some
mineral
dirt and then a little bit
deposits.
of boron.
Yeah, they're like
It's mineral deposits, and that's why it's called 20 mule team borax, because after they took it out of the borax mines, then
Yes.
it was 20 mules that pulled the incredible amounts they were bringing out. I don't know, it's like Palm Desert
I've
or
used
somewhere in
borax a lot.
Utah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, borax is
borax,
freaking
not
amazing.
borax.
Yeah.
Oh, borax. Yeah.
Yeah, my cat
Okay.
peed on my
All
laundry.
right, so
you put the
we
borax
can-
in there, it takes out the cat pee
Let's
smell.
get back on task here. I got a schedule to keep. So
What?
Speaking of,
You're trying to
speaking of
put some
drink-
structure to this show.
I
are
know,
you?
I know.
It's I feel Brad's structure went out the window the other night on his show. I'm trying to keep
Oh
the
man,
rails on this one.
and by the way, it's only 20 minutes. You guys should go watch it. It's friggin' hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's pretty good. So, like Tiffany still smiling.
Oh yes.
So
like you can see the wind like change, and yeah, it's funny. we're all pretty good.
All right, let's see. The microphones are on, people. So if you talk, we'll hear you. But here you go. Let's see if we can do this.
Dreams are this massive gray area in sleep science that we barely understand. What are dreams? Why do we dream? Does everyone dream? Some people think they have all the answers, but there's no real science to back them up. Sorry, that dream reader you spent $60 on was just telling you what you wanted to hear. So let's get into what we do know about dreams, where they come from, and how they impact our sleep. Let's start by giving dreams an official definition. Dreams are simply thoughts, feelings, or images that occur while you sleep. Most people experience visual imagery, but dreams can also involve your other senses. Anything can happen in a dream, but several studies have pinpointed the more common aspects. Most people dream in first person. The content is often illogical, absurd even, and there are usually other people interacting with the dreamer. Your brain tends to incorporate elements from your waking life into the dream, like those super stressful dreams you have about work when everything goes wrong. But while most people agree on the what, it's the why that we can't quite figure out. Sleep experts have developed several working theories to answer the age-old question of why we dream. Some think dreams are your brain's way of consolidating memories, while others believe it's how the brain rehearses emotional situations, like processing the difficult conversation you had at work or the fun night you had with friends. There's also the theory that dreams are like mental housekeeping, a way of tidying up your brain of useless information. Instant replay theory suggests your brain uses dreams to relive recent events. But if those events were in a Salvador Dali painting? Finally, some researchers dismiss any deeper meaning and think dreams are simply a byproduct of brain activity and don't serve any real purpose. Is that true? They're not nothing. They kind of mean something. The average person dreams for about 2 hours every night, whether they can remember it or not. And while you can dream during any sleep stage, the most vivid dreams occur during rapid eye movement or REM sleep. Your brain basically kicks into overdrive during REM sleep. These dreams are usually vivid, bizarre, and fantastical, while non-REM dreams are more coherent and logical. But are these incredible REM adventures affecting your sleep in any way? The short answer is no. Dreams don't affect sleep quality. Nightmares are the only exception because they usually wake you up and interrupt your normal sleep cycle. Frequent nightmares can become problematic, especially if they cause someone to feel anxious about sleeping. When they finally do hit the pillow, they can fall right into REM sleep, which can make the nightmares even worse. This literal nightmare cycle can lead to insomnia and other chronic sleep problems. Some even struggle with something called somnophobia, a fear of falling asleep. And we have a video all about that linked in the description.
Oh, God, that sounds awful.
One of those things the universe didn't intend us to understand. Until we can get a camera inside someone's subconscious, we'll never know what's happening inside their head. But it's nice to know that even the most vivid, incredible dreams aren't affecting our sleep. So, unless you're waking up from frequent nightmares, keep dreaming.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Dreams are awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
my dreams.
So, when I was studying psychology and the physiology, whatever, of the body, when we sleep, our brain really doesn't sleep, but it's, we have to have our involuntary stuff going, and all that. So it's basically when your physical body is resting, your brain is still active. So it has to keep busy while the body's resting. So it doesn't have anything to do. Maybe it's
well, no, and some people who smoke weed experience zero dreams after a while, like after usage, and then if they quit for a little bit, extremely vivid, like resurgence of dreams after stopping.
Are you telling us this?
Or so I've been told.
Yeah. So Larry must be in the doghouse
Tiffany.
with his wife, because he put this lovely comment here. I once dreamed about a beautiful girl. Luckily, I woke up next to her, and now she's my wife. Oh, Larry, you're such a romantic.
Saw that, and it made me think, like, is she also in the chat?
Yeah, she might not be. Oh, wait. Here
No, but
like,
she may read the comments later.
They're not so.
Yeah.
Well, the thing, one of the things I'm going to ask you about your dreams and everything. So I have these dreams. I don't have very many dreams. I used to dream a lot more, but now it's just far and few between. But I have dreams of places I've never been, I've never seen, and it's in color. And it's like, how did I imagine this house? I mean, I never have seen that house before. I think it's just wild that I could come up with. I feel like I have Tiffany, the AI dreams. I have the AI dreams.
Yeah, AI.
So I'm making my own AI, in my brain. So
Serious question, John. Do those manifest into your life? Do you find those places that you've never seen?
No, I don't. No, I don't see them. Any of that.
You never experience it in real life, like precognition.
And I have a really hard time remembering what they are. I am old. the boomer brain.
Well,
did you not see Saturday?
God,
I thought Saturday was Sunday. I got on Saturday morning and acted like it was Sunday. I was going to church peer review later that day. It was just crazy. I was like, and then I didn't even know. I did the whole preview, and then I got a text from Kathy about meet me on the bridge. She says, "Hey, we're serving tomorrow, not today." I'm like, "Oh crap, it's Saturday." So yeah, I get it. But the dreaming part is now Lisa has dreams all the time. She's always telling me about this dream and that dream, and I don't know if they mean anything or not, but
I have a lot of deja vus, Lucy. I think you were getting ready to ask him that.
Yeah, well, I thought it might be like deja vu or precognition or something. But for those of you who want to experience increased focus for your work life and really crazy freaking dreams, get yourself some L-theanine. It's an amino acid. You can't overdose on it. 250 milligrams, which is a very small amount, will give you the most vivid, crazy dreams. The first time I ever took this stuff, I was taking it with coffee. So if you take coffee, of course, it gives you that nervous energy that, you're like under your desk.
That's what I need, is more nervous energy.
But then L-theanine induces alpha waves. Like if you're a Buddhist monk for 15 years and you know how to like get yourself into the zone, those are alpha waves. And they think that's what's responsible for the vivid dreams. Yeah, I was like battling aliens. It was totally Battlestar Galactica in 0G, and I was going after the Greys and the reptilians.
Now, were those aliens you saw on TV at one point, or were they totally made up new aliens?
No, I just think that they were recycled, from stuff that I'd seen.
Well, wait, John, bringing it back to like the, near-death experiences too. Have you guys ever had I like the dreams where I get to see people who have passed away.
Yes.
And they're totally made up in my head, but they feel
too many fish concerts.
Well, no. And I want to say too, like my aunt passed away like a couple years ago, and I was talking to my brother earlier. I don't know if it was this April, but we both had I had a dream about her, and he brought up something that I'm like, oh yeah, I had this dream about her, and he's like, no way, I had this, and it was right around the anniversary of her death, kind of a thing. And those kind of situations, it just the universe lines up, and it's like, yeah, there's God. I don't know how it happens.
Well, it's either they say the atheist believes in the coincidence, and the believer believes in the spirit, and God's on.
I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's just let's all appreciate being here when we are.
Yeah, hold that thought, because our last guy is going to blow your mind. Okay, so Tiffany, what kind of dreams do you have? I mean, you already talked about one dream, but I mean, maybe talk about what you think dreams mean.
I have great dreams. I think that when we dream at night, I think it's like hygiene for our brain, just kind of cleaning itself out. I think it's very important. That's why you need like 8 hours. I think you need to rest. Last night, I had a dream as I was snoring and choking to death. I remember I was at my parents' house and I saw this little boy sitting at a table reading a book. And I said to him, wow, your parents raised you right. And it was interesting. He's just like a little baby 7-8-year-old little brown kid. So that was kind of interesting. But usually my dreams, I feel like sometimes I dream things and then they end up happening. And then I feel like you eventually just kind of sinks, so.
Yes.
The deja vu you were talking about earlier, I definitely get stuff like that, it sort of makes you wonder about how time actually works. Like, how could I? And some of these deja vus are years apart, and it's like, wow, I swear that I thought this at one point. So that's sort of interesting. So, I think let's see. It's time to move on to the next segment. Brad, you got some comments on the dreaming thing?
No. Let's.
I want to make sure we get everybody in on that.
But look, we're playing fair and everything. This is so
no,
nice.
and I'm trying. So I'm trying my best here.
You're doing a great job. You deserve a raise.
Yeah, well, I double my pay every time we get off the show. That's what I'm saying. So let's sort of segue into the afterlife part of it. So, we think about that, especially when you get the gray hair going, you get closer to the end of the beginning. You start, and then you got to clean out all your stuff because you're moving. So, it sort of gets a little heavy, and that's why I wanted to do this show. Personal. I want to be, selfish, but I think that a lot of folks, we just go, what's on our schedule for next week? What are we going to do tomorrow? What do we do today? We just go. We don't take a minute to reflect on, things. So I was thinking that, life after death, we'll just say there's a heaven. Okay. We'll just say that, you go to this next thing, just bear with me for a second here. And then they're like, well, in the good book, it says, hey, you might be judged at this thing at the end. If you read Revelations, which I don't really know if I can understand it all, but it's an interesting little read if you just got a few years to go through it. As we'll be judged, and it's like God's going to separate the sheep from the goats, and you're going to be this and that. But I mean, how's that going to happen? So I'm thinking, now when you go to sleep, do you know how long you've slept? If it's 2 hours, 8 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours, whatever. You don't know how sometimes I go to sleep, it feels like I was asleep for 5 minutes. And I don't know. I think Lucy knows where I'm going with this. So what I'm thinking is, when we pass away, we just go to sleep. Everybody from the history of the world is sleeping right now on the other side. So when hey, wait, let me finish my story, Lucy.
I'm just waiting to tell you you're wrong.
This is just a theory.
Let him have his thoughts.
It's just a theory. It's just a theory.
That was almost as bad as Tiffany just being like, "You're old."
That was. It's that side. That side of the.
It's the same thing. Yeah, man. Just
is there. So everybody wakes up at the same time, and you will face your, everybody at the same time. So you'll face your judgment or whatever you want to think it is, all at the same time. You're going to be in there with George Washington. You're going to be in there with Caesar. You're going to be in there with Adam and all of them. You're going to be there, and everybody's going to wake up, and it's going to be like the Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory when Veruca got on the bad egg thing, and then she went down. It's going to be like that.
Is it alphabetical order, John, or is it like the day we die, like ascending to descending?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be, I think it comes down to the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good and I don't know what that parameter is.
It comes down. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put my opinion in here because I'm just itching to tell you how.
Hey, Lucy, why don't you go ahead? You go ahead.
So the New Testament is clear. It says, "Absent from the body is present with the Lord." And most of the people, I like to consider myself an aficionado of near-death experiences. I listen to them all the time. What I'm really fascinated by, my mom had a near-death experience. I told you guys that in the back channel. When she was 8 years old, she died of nephritis, which is kidney disease. She might have been 9. I don't think she'd reached her 9th birthday. And, she grew up Mormon in Utah, and Mormons believe that they have the gift of what they call the Melchizedek priesthood. And so her father, my grandfather, laid his hands on her, and a couple other elders from the church laid their hands on her, and they were like praying for her and trying to call her back and stuff. And my grandpa said that he felt like hands came underneath his, like angelic hands or something. But what my mom said is that she met her grandmother, who had watched her, as a little girl, had been her babysitter, and she met her at the bridge. And grandma's on the bridge saying, come on over. You'll have a lot of fun. You can do whatever you want. We'll have a good time. And my mom's saying, I got stuff that I've still got to do here, so I'm going to go back. So I always felt really comfortable with the idea of death because I knew that it wasn't the end. My mom had firsthand experience. There's no reason for me not to believe her. But the thing that's really got me is the 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 immense grace, that God gives us. If you start reading or listening, even on YouTube, to near-death experiences for people that were believers, but maybe they had fallen away, some of them have recounted that they've been taken down to hell and tortured, and that they realized, they deserved to be there, but they called on Jesus anyway. And when they called on Jesus, they were taken out of hell. Jesus came and rescued them. So that was the most fascinating thing. Now, people can believe it, people cannot believe it. Some people think that hell is permanent, but it's clear that there is nowhere in the universe that Jesus cannot come get you. And, Jesus being God is almighty, all-knowing, all-powerful. There is no limit when it comes to Jesus and what he can do for us. So I do believe the people that have said that, they were lukewarm or they had fallen away, and, in the midst of their torture, they were repentant. They realized what they had done wrong and that they deserved it. And they called on him anyway, and he came and got them.
Okay, so I like that. I mean, that's very
It surprised me. You can
good.
Believe it or not believe it.
Very feasible. But if you think about the thief on the cross, and Alistair Begg does a really good. If you want to, I should get the link. If I was a good producer, I'd have the link there for you to watch if I come up with this. But Alistair Begg talks about the thief on the cross. He gets up to heaven. He gets in there. He's talking to him. He says, "Well, how'd you get here?" "Well, I don't know." He said, "Well, what do you mean you don't know?" I said, "I don't know. I'm here. I'm here." And say, "Well, tell me what kind of doctrine do you know? Do you know the?" He starts listing off all this stuff. No, I don't know. Just the guy on the middle cross told me I could come, and it's So you think about this is a guy that was bad. At the very end, he said, "Yes." Here's another theory, and Tiffany, I want you to answer this one. What if you die and you go to heaven and you can come back, but it's so good that nobody's come back but that one guy? I mean, that sounds silly, doesn't it? But just think about it. Why would you?
Why would you come back?
Because
the thing is that I'm 53. I'm at the point now, I'm an empty nester. My daughter's going to get married, all this stuff. And, my life that I've been living for the last 25 years is going to change. I'm no longer, actively parenting, I'm out of my childbearing ages.
Lucy will never know that.
Years,
never know that.
I'm no longer actively parenting like I was. I'm getting ready for this next chapter. I'm 53. Do I have another 50 years? Maybe, but eventually I'm going to die. And I'm going to have a funeral and I'm going to be laying there and, and I'm going on to someplace else. And I think that you can't fear that because it's just a natural part of living. So you've got to be prepared. And I think that that's the goal. The goal is to go to heaven and, to be with God and Jesus. And maybe my heaven is like South Beach,
Southie, when you start partying at midnight and quit at 6 a.m.
But I kind of wanted to go back. What is interesting is I had a dream about my mom, and what is really, really crazy, I had a dream about my mom, and I remember, and my mom was just like, this chubby, old, brown woman, great skin. And I saw her in a dream, and it was really funny because she had on she was slimmer, and she had on like a pink, like baby fat, like sweatsuit, and she had her hair kind of done. She looked really young, really young. And I was like, well, let's go. And she said, you can't go where I'm going. And it was really, really weird. And I also remember kind of this feeling that I was at my parents' house, but my mom was upstairs in the house.
That's better in the basement.
But the thing that I couldn't go there, and it's so funny is that whenever I do have these experiences about death, dying, and the afterlife, it's all at my parents' house. And even like last night, and it's funny because I've had different dreams before about different people, and then things have happened to them. So I'm really concerned about the little boy that I saw at the table reading the book, because I don't know any brown 8-year-olds. So that's concerning for me. And I feel like in the news something will pop up, but that's concerning for me.
Well, with all
If he's
these
somebody's
school
child that
incidents.
didn't make it. I mean, he could have been a pregnancy that didn't survive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what do y'all think about that one? As far as, you know, in the, I think it's Ecclesiastes, even a stillborn child, they go straight to heaven because they never saw
Of
the
course.
evils of this world.
Yeah, of course.
So you think there's like a bunch of kids up there that never made
So
it?
so maybe my parents' house is heaven. Maybe
Yeah, no, I mean,
Field of
it's
dreams.
funny
It's like
you
that.
could interpret these dreams like this, and it is just such a, it's like the gal said there on her little clip. Until we can put a, you know, camera in somebody's conscience, we'll never know. I mean, and you know, I think that's why
Well,
it's called
Apple.
faith and not fact, right, Lucy?
Well, I don't know. I guess some people confuse faith with facts, but I'd like to comment on that. The NDEs that I've listened to, I've literally listened to hundreds of them. It's kind of a hobby. Um, many, many, many women and a very few men have commented that when they were in heaven, that if they'd had a miscarriage or even an abortion, that they were taken to a room where the babies were and they got to see their babies, and they understood that the babies would stay in a baby state until they returned to heaven, and they would have the opportunity for that baby to be kind of like raised by them. But like in a supernatural way. Like I got the idea from one lady that like you get to meet your baby as a baby, but you know, time doesn't matter in heaven. So, you know, it could be 3 of our seconds and you've lived a lifetime. And now, you know, now they're like an adult. But
Yeah,
that provided.
Kind of like the Avengers Endgame.
There you go.
So that is what's wild, because if you Kent Hovland, I believe is his name. If I was a good producer, I'd put the video up there. He talks about, you know, God being outside of space and time and all that. Because he has to be, because there's no way you could. It's like us making something. Like if we made a computer, we're not in the computer. We're outside of the computer. I thought it was a very good way to explain how we could have a creator and how the creator can't be here totally. I mean, obviously, if you believe the Trinity and Holy Spirit and the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is basically omnipotent. It's everywhere. It's got to be everywhere. We got 8.5 billion people in this world. I can't even keep track of this show, yet alone 8.5 billion people.
But to your point, you know, when we are dreaming and we are very relaxed and we have these dreams and we're sleeping, you know, sometimes that's the only time people are really open to thoughts that are outside of, you know, their box that they put themselves in. And I think that you know, when I pray for guidance, when I pray for insight, you know, it usually comes when you're very relaxed, you know, like being in a meditative state, or you know, for me it's like, you know, like showering or going on a long walk, you know, when you are just really open to thoughts and ideas and like God speaking to you. And I think that's one of the things that people aren't really conscious of, is like when God is speaking to them. So I had a client, and she was pre-approved for a house, like up to $300,000. She was an older woman, but she had a house maybe 20, 25 years ago. And through a chain of events, somebody like gave her a house. You know, she got something very undervalued, and it was a Davis home. She got it very undervalued. That's when I think the dad owned the company. And here we are 30 years later, and she mismanaged that, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. So here we are 30 years later, and she wants a house, and she's like, you know, call him and see if the son will give me and I was like, hey, you know, maybe the blessing is that you're pre-approved and you can afford your very own home. You know, sometimes that's the blessing from God, is that you're financially stable and that you can take care of yourself. And sometimes people, you know, when we pray for things and we get things, we don't think that we got, because we didn't get it the way that we thought that we were going to get it. It's like, you know, you're pre-approved. Like there are a lot of people out there who can't get pre-approved for a home. There are a lot of people who can't afford a mortgage. I mean, you've already been blessed in a very different way, but God's trying to give you exactly what you want. And so I think that that's the miss sometimes, is that people don't understand how God is trying to work in their lives. Like, for me right now, I'm partially retired and I love real estate. And, I've kind of pulled back after the election, and just being able to, handle my obligations and have free time, and to be able to pursue things that are of interest to me, and to be outside of the matrix when you don't have an employer, when your time is your own. I mean, I think that's what God wants for us.
You got to empty the vessel to put more in it. I mean, that's the bottom line.
But I really think that God doesn't want us working 9 to 5 for somebody else. They own your time, they own your thoughts, they own anything you create. They're in charge of your vacation, in charge of whether or not you can go to a doctor's appointment or your kid's event. I don't think God wants us to live like that.
Yeah. Tommy I says heaven is for real. That's one to watch. I've not seen it. Has anybody seen that one? Heaven is for real. Okay, let's get to this last part, because this is Neil deGrasse. He's a smart guy. I mean, at least that's what somebody told me, he was smart. Let's listen to this one, and we'll come out on the other side. And look, I can't even get it under an hour here, but I knew this would be a good discussion. So let's see here. Let's get to our last clip, and it is, I don't know if this is it or not. Well, I can fix some of this. Okay, there we go. That's going to make it easier. Okay, let's see.
Got some chats open.
Come on.
Physics and thermodynamic. Existence after you die. And you say, well, what does that feel like? If you say I have no existence, what is that like?
Wait a minute. No existence as a physical body, or just
everything about you that says you exist now, that you tell yourself I exist, I think, therefore I am.
In terms of my presence in the universe,
yes,
how I
is gone. You will have no existence on death. Laws of physics and biology tell us that. You can believe what you want in a country where we have protection of religious expression, but if you want to ask science what science says about it, you go into a state of non-existence. You can say, well, why is that? What's that like? I'll tell you exactly what it's like. This is what it was like before you were born. You're not asking yourself, what was it like before I was born? I had to have some existence. You didn't. You have no existence, a state of non-existence before you were born. So I'm not given reason to think that your state of non-existence in death differs in any fundamental way from your state of non-existence before you're born, giving that much more meaning to what it is you can and should do while you're alive in this world.
That's a good point. And afterlife for you? No, that concept.
I'm not convinced. And because I'm not convinced, I'm doing as much as I can in my own life.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't want to say I'm looking forward to afterlife, so I'm going to chill on the beach.
No, but it's true. You're a greeter at Walmart on the side.
In my spare time.
You're doing as much as you can.
In a multiverse, our current thinking is that if there's an infinite number of multiverses, there's another universe where all these same molecular configurations exist, except you have some evil goatee and mustache. So with that, you can imagine a universe shifted in time. I don't have a problem imagining that. Here's the difference. Even if your entire molecular configuration is reproduced in that other universe, I'm not convinced it's you. I'm just not convinced of that.
Because of my DNA makeup?
No, it's identical to you. It's just not you.
Because of that entity's life experiences are different than mine?
No, because it's a parallel universe where all of that is the same.
Same mother, same upbringing.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
Same.
The molecules configurations are all the same.
Okay, but does that entity, if I'm at 5, fall off my bike and scrape my knee, that experience happened to that entity?
There'll be multiple universes where that happened when you were 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, didn't happen, could have happened, happened bad, happened good. You died in this other one because a truck hit you. All those combinations would exist. So you find the one that's closest to ours, but shifted by 10 minutes. That's this question. So the one, can you go back in time into that life? And all I'm saying is, I'm not convinced that your consciousness is transportable in that way. I can make an exact replica of you over here. Is your consciousness occupying this? The reason why I'm skeptical is we already have examples of identical people. They're called twins, but they don't share each other's consciousness. They are separate people. They might finish each other's sentences because they're raised together and they do the same things together.
They think differently. They logic differently.
They're not the same people, even though they are genetically identical. That's my point. Are you the same person, or are you a photocopy of the same person? If you're just a photocopy, then do you share all of the consciousness? I think, therefore I am. I think, therefore am I you?
How do you define consciousness in this context?
Consciousness is, I think it's a poorly defined.
Thank you, Larry.
Everybody's trying to define
It's a very amorphous word in this context.
It's amorphous in many contexts. There are whole books on consciousness. You know why they're still publishing books on consciousness? Because we don't know anything about consciousness.
Why do you think it's so difficult to understand it?
Because you're trying to understand the thing that is making you try to understand it. How can my consciousness understand itself?
Who's this guy in the jacket on the
That
right?
is a challenge
He's the interviewer.
that we've yet to rise to.
His name's Brad.
Don't do that.
So there you go. That is.
Neil deGrasse Tyson is a stupid piece of
Hold on a second,
crap.
Lucy.
Well, like,
Well,
who gives a shit about multiverses though? Like, I don't understand how it went to that
He
route.
sounds so
But
smart.
do you know, but if you think about it, like, you know how like in life you have choices. And you know that if you, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to go in the military, I'm going to go in the trade school, I'm going to start this job. And you know, your life will go in a bunch of different directions. What I love is where you get to a point in your life and you're like, wow, no matter what choice I would have made, I was going to end up right here. I love that because it proves, one, it proves that, you know, wow, you made the right choice, or any choice you would have made, the universe, multiverse, or whatever, all of the versions of you were going to meet up again in this exact place for you to move on to something else. And I think about that sometimes when people have like decisions or things have happened in their lives, and it's like, wow, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. It's kind of like you get stuck in traffic, or I think about it sometimes when I, you know, with my adult ADHD, I go out to the car to get something and I'm in the car and I'm like, you know, I forgot something inside, and I go back out inside and I go back and I get in the car, and then I end up someplace and I'm like, wow, you know, I was supposed to be right here at this exact time. And I love that. I love when I get the chance to reset. I love that because, wow, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be at the exact right time.
Yeah,
and
who thought you'd be on the Mouthwash show at this exact time for this many years? I mean, it's just, you know, it just, you know, it's cosmic, isn't it? So one of the things
life is cosmic. I mean, I think that you have to be able to appreciate the things that are happening and where you are and the people that you're around and the experiences that you are having. Nothing is random.
Predestination. So one of the things that you know,
it's more like not fighting time, or it's not fighting the universe. A lot of it, like so. I don't think it's predestination, but it's like there are routes you can go, and you can kind of almost see the way.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, there's free will, and with free will means there's, you know, you're gonna make good and bad decisions and ugly decisions. But one of the things that strikes me, you know, he talked about where were we before we were born, and it's like,
yeah,
you know,
that was neat.
There's this Greek alphabet called there's, you know, it starts with the alpha and ends with the omega. So life has to start. Something has to start somewhere. It doesn't just, you know. So this could be the very beginning of our journey. I mean, that's
you
what
guys
I'm
were talking about dreams and stuff, and when you say like, oh well, how did I get here? Like, how did you get to life? Like, try to think.
Right.
If I was just interviewing you and I said, you know, tell me your first experience you remember about being human. Like, well, you would say something like when you were 2 or 3. Like, so you've already been living. Apparently, you just are already here.
Well, what about nature over nurture? That nature.
Could you imagine if somebody's like, "Oh my God, I remember the birth canal"? You'd be like, "Ah."
No,
There are people that believe
that
that.
would be awful.
There probably is
Wait,
some people that,
what?
I mean, heck, there's 2-year-olds.
Yeah,
who can
there
play
there are
the piano
plenty
like
there are plenty of people who
Beethoven.
claim pre-birth memories as well.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
glad I didn't have a twin. Well, he mentioned twins. We have Nathan Roberts and Nick Roberts. They're twins, and one's a Republican, one's a Democrat. So
Matter,
yeah,
antimatter.
but think about it. I'm
Yeah.
still. I mean, I think we all have connections. You know, I look a lot like my dad. I think, I think like my mom, but I've got a heart.
Oh,
like
and
my
we
dad.
all
You
have
know, we have
doppelgangers
these,
too.
and then,
Like,
is that
we
just
have
genetics?
natural.
Is that just genetics?
No,
Or
but
is
we
it-
have people we don't know, doppelgangers, like that aren't
Oh,
related to
yeah,
us,
I get a
that
lot
are,
of that.
and it's very strange sometimes, like how, you're like, oh well, that looks like that person that I know, and then you're like, that face is on a lot of faces. Sometimes, like, it's very strange. So
Yeah, it is. It is interesting, but I find that's a very. I think that's a
Well,
sad
but
way
do
to
you
live.
believe that? Yeah, but do you believe that? I mean, I kind of thought he was correct when he was talking about, like, you'll be biologically dead. Like your brain, your consciousness, and your little meat bag of, brain
Bones.
and nerves and everything will cease.
It's got to
And
be
so-
electrical. It's got to be like a spirit. You know, you don't see the wind. You don't. It's got to be something of that nature.
So to your point, John, about the electrical part of it, when I was married, we had to put a dog down. It was actually my husband's dog that he had raised from a puppy, which I thought was really interesting. As we were putting her down, he had to leave the room, and I was there with her, and they gave her their medicine, and she fell asleep, and then you could tell when she died. You could tell when the electricity stopped. And
Yeah.
it was she just became an inanimate object. And I was like, wow. So there is something there. The electricity turned off, and her little soul went to little doggy heaven.
Well, the
Yeah,
21
it's
grams
definitely-
for human.
So definitely,
Exactly.
our little,
Thank you for
our little
saying it,
wiener
Barry.
dog, a little wiener dog, same thing. It's like, it's just sad. I've most of my dogs die, run off, or whatever. It's been the first time I've ever had to actually go and hold the little wiener dog while she took her last little breath and all that. And it's, and I've, death, I've done about 20 funerals for people. And Tiffany, you know what I'm talking about. You see the result of lifeless bodies, and you just know that person is somewhere else. Where that is it? Do you think it goes into nothing? I just can't say that. If Rick Warren's purpose-driven life, there's what's our purpose in life? What's our oil in our lamp? I just think that there's way more to it than just us coming down here and eating cabbage and being on talk shows.
Yeah. And Lucy, you can talk about this. It's like, when people talk about what, like, generational trauma, and there's your DNA that goes on to the continuing generations. There's your soul that goes on someplace else, the electricity, the 21 grams. But we're here, we live, we experience, and we're affected, and we pass that on. I mean, like, at least, I mean, you can't say that our DNA doesn't continue. I mean, if you have children, your DNA continues, it evolves. So,
and if you think about that from the thing, we're basically from half of a cell from our parents. We start with a half of a cell, and that's basically nothing. I think if you were to say this is the beginning of our journey, I don't think that's a hard reach. Now, Degrassi says, "Hey, we came from nothing." I mean, if we came from nothing, then nothing would be everywhere. Nothing would be
But, I
everything.
mean, we have to celebrate our parents having sex, by the way, which is just a gross.
I don't even want to think about it because
concept
I'm
in
a
general.
September.
Right? Yeah, like,
But mine was like
you made me think of it
New
just
Year's,
like you think
New Year's
like
Eve.
we were
Lucy's a
half
New
a
Year's
cell
Eve too.
or whatever. See, like
1961 New Year's Eve. My mom and dad were getting it. I mean, they were getting it.
but that's it. Like, that is the nature part of it, where it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, nature over nurture. You think about that. What is our natural? I've known people that did not know their parent, but and I knew their parent. They had the same traits, the same issues that their parent had. There's no way. I mean, they were just so down the line. But having me as their surrogate dad, I beat it out of them. So I basically nurtured them into human beings. So I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but
No, I think nurture, it's important. Nature versus nurture.
but
I mean, I remember I
what's
was
the
at a
percentage?
restaurant. I was at a restaurant and there was this brown kid working behind the counter. And we were just kind of talking, and he was like, yeah, he was like, yeah, I live here in Fishers. That's my family, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, do tell. Long story short, this kid was, he was culturally white.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Valley girl, white. Fisher's
Yeah,
white.
but I mean, his parents, his friends, the household, his experiences, the neighborhood, the community, all of his experiences, like he was culturally white.
Yeah, I think that
I didn't have a problem with it.
In real estate, Tiffany, what's the three most important things? And Lucy, what's the three most important things in real estate?
Location.
Well, in psychology, it's environment, and environment. So it's who you hang around with, what you do, and where you're doing it. And those are the three things that are so important. And people don't realize that I know some people that didn't. You hear the phrase white privilege or this or that, but I think the privilege is having a mom and a dad that are around, and two, not being in poverty, because only 1 in 10 people get out of poverty. But it's and we all draw our lot. We all get our lot in life. You're either born Donald Trump or what's the other guy that ran? The guy that forgot his name was President Biden. You're either Biden or Donald Trump or somewhere in between. I don't know. But yeah, I know these questions are deep questions, and I knew this would be a good conversation tonight, and I hopefully makes folks think about it. And the chat's been very good with their input tonight on that. And wow, I just thought it was good. It was fun. So next week we'll be back to business as usual. We'll have Janae Trimble on. She's down there fighting the fight in Bloomington against the heathens and the establishment and the haters. Sort of like what you're doing, Lucy, a different side of the town, not far from there. You're not far from Bloomington, are you?
No, just an hour.
Yeah, so about the same. I need to come down and get that intinction, though. I got to get that thing because I need it. I need the thing. I need to start.
I need to find a reason to drive up to Denver. I mean, I do have a reason to go to IKEA. My milk frother has died,
Yay!
and so I just love going to IKEA.
Never been to IKEA. I've never been.
Oh my! We should
You should do a show in IKEA.
Yes, we should. And it should be hide and seek, like all four of us on different live streams trying to get the rat maze. Let's do that, because that's I mean, like, obviously, but it's probably like halfway for Brad and I. And then we can have like lingonberry jam on top of our meatballs.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in Jennifer. She forgot it was Tuesday, which I forgot it was Sunday, and Saturday got mixed up. So I'll give you some grace and mercy on that. So, all right. Well, hey, this has been a good show, and we will have to, I've liked the last 2 weeks doing panel discussions.
Oh yeah, Spiro is right. Core Eats, that is the place to eat. Korean barbecue with runny egg on top. Oh my gosh, that is my favorite place.
I do love.
And get some kimchi on there too. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
and in Fresh Time right next door. Whew.
Nothing. You can't beat it. It's like what we
Now,
call
I
it.
miss,
Good afternoon with Lucy.
I miss
That's
living
a
in Fishers.
fun time. So, all right. Well, hey guys.
Back to the
usual.
suburbs.
Thanks for coming on. Show 290 or whatever we're on here in the books.
When's the big 300? That'll be fun.
It's coming. We got probably about 10 more shows. We'll see. It's probably gonna be real close to the end of the year, I guess, but we'll see. We'll see what's happening. So let's see, what do we have coming up? We got, obviously election coming up.
Can I say something for the 300? We should be in 4 different locations, and there should be clues, and it should be a treasure hunt, and people should find us.
Okay, what are they going to do when they find us?
I don't know.
Win a mouthwash shirt or something.
Yeah, actually, that's a great idea. For the first person to find you gets a mouthwash shirt.
Yeah, if you want to see
color-coded to your political affiliation.
I did the MC for the God and Country last Saturday, and if you wanted to see a little bit of the panel discussion, I thought it was pretty good. I had Gary Varvel up there, he's great. He gives a
I love
history
Gary
lesson and
Varvel.
has the drawings. We had Curtis Hill and we had Micah Beckwith, and I got to ask a few questions. If you go to my page on Facebook, you can see that Hoosier Freedom Caucus page has that clip on there. You can check it out and join the little group. I mean, you got to join the group because we're the Hoosier Freedom Caucus, and it was a fun time. Other program note, let's see. Oh, we do have a Nicole Caps. I can't say her last name yet, but I'm working on it. She's going to have a Saturday Veterans Coffee Show coming up. It'll be this Saturday. Keep track of that. She's a podcasting queen. She has some other shows too that might be popping up. So, and Brad
Maybe
looks
she
like
can
he's
do the simultaneous sip. If y'all know about Scott Adams and the simultaneous sip.
okay. Yeah, I've had coffee since '89, so I'm probably going to miss that one. So,
But you're
anyway.
L-theanine in it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, all right, everybody. Hey, thanks everybody for watching. Tune in. Hey, we need a few more likes. We're well past 2,500 now. We're on to our way to 2,600 followers. So get it. Let's go. It's your turn. So everybody, see you later. Bye.